What's up, YouTube? Your boy back once again with another sport topic, and today we're going to talk some football. Houston Texans football. We're going to talk about the receiving corps because a lot has been talking about the receivers lately, and I think we should talk about this receiving corps because I think, to be honest, it's actually one of the most underrated groups, not only on the team, but one of the most underrated groups in the NFL. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down. Before we get in there, like I've been telling you before, if you're liking the content, make sure you're liking the channel. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're watching all the videos, sharing all the videos, commenting all the videos, sharing all the videos on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, any type of social media platform you use. Make sure you share it on the same social media platforms. Also, follow me on social media. Links in the description below. Hey, we trying to get this channel growing and growing and growing. I know I've been away for a minute, but your boy back now. Back content, back rolling. Hey, so make sure you like the channel, subscribe to the channel, watch the videos, comment on all the videos, like the videos, and share them, and let's get this channel growing and growing and growing. Now, like I said before, the Houston Texans have a very, very underrated group, and I think this is probably one of the most underrated groups, not only on the team, but also in the whole entire NFL, and that's the wide receiver corps. And I think a lot of people have been saying, have been making comments talking about the receiver corps is bad down in Houston, and I'm not talking about just from Texas media, I'm talking about across the board, talking about the receiving corps is bad in Houston, they don't have any receivers, this, that, and the third, and while I do believe that the Texans don't have a true number one bona fide receiver, that's the reason why I would definitely want the Texans to make the move and pull the trigger on bringing DeAndre Hopkins back to the fold. I know some people are out on that, which I don't understand, which is crazy. Hopkins is the number one receiver, and I think the Texans should bring Hopkins in to help the development of C.J. Stroud. But the Texans receiving corps, I don't think it's bad. I just think it's underrated. Now, I do agree, like I said before, I don't think they have a true number one receiver. When I go by number one receiver is a guy who dictates the coverage of the defense. The defensive coordinator has to make sure they know exactly where that receiver is all the time. Either he's getting double teamed by a corner and a safety, or a number one corner is on him all game long. They cover him the whole entire game from start to finish. They cover him the whole game, one-on-one. And also a guy who, no matter what the down distance is, no matter when a play needs to be made, that's where your quarterback is looking to. Like, no matter what down the distance is, no matter what junction in the game it is, when a bona fide play has to be made, a significant play in the game has to be made, you're looking in their receiver's direction. I don't think the Texans have their receiver on the field, on the team yet, but I do think that the Texans, like I said, their receiver corps is more underrated and more so is young. Now, if you say they got a young receiving corps, we don't really know what they can do, we're going to talk about that. I understand that. I'm not going to give you any pushback in the argument because these guys either have not played on the field at the NFL level yet, or what they've shown is has been a little bit underwhelming, to say the least. But we're going to break down exactly from who I like versus in junction of the order of the guys, the receivers I like the most versus the guys who I like the least, I guess you would say it like that. And the receiver who I'm the most hyped about on this roster right now is Nathaniel Tangdale. Outside of C.J. Stroud, he was my favorite draft pick. He was my most excited draft pick who we drafted, more so because it was more so a shock that we were drafting him. I was hoping that we would get a chance to get Tangdale. And I think he's just an exciting, dynamic player. Now, the knock on him is he's small. He's 5'8", 167 pounds. Don't let that fool you. Don't let that height and weight fool you. The guy absolutely makes plays on all junctions of the field. I think he led college football the last 2 years, if I'm not mistaken, in yards and receptions, or at least in yards. He's a very dynamic receiver. Guy will go up there and get it. He don't care, even though he's 5'8", and 167 pounds. The boy go out there and get the football, and will route you up in a minute. Like, will route you up. Like his footwork is very, very dangerous. Like he gets to his spot. His footwork is very, very dangerous. Lightning quick. Now his 40 time kind of upset me a little bit. I think he ran like a 4.5, and I would thought he would run faster because he looks, when he plays faster than that. But he's very, very quick and very, very shifty. He gets in and out of his breaks extremely quick. The way he moves and zigzags on the field, extremely dynamic when the ball is in his hands. The way he's able to stop on the dime and cut and turn and change direction very, very quickly. He's lightning quick. I guess makes up for his straight line speed. He doesn't have that straight line 40 time that you would hope, especially coming from his size and the way he looks. But the boy has great hands. He makes spectacular catches, great hands, extremely route runner, and he can play both inside and outside. Do I think he's a 100-catch, 1,500-yard receiver? No, I don't. I don't believe that he's going to be that guy. Mostly because I think that you're going to use him in a lot of different ways, that you're not just going to use him in the traditional line him up and throw the football down the field. I mean, you're going to use him on the return game as far as punt returns, kick returns. You're going to use him on jet sweeps. You're going to use him on reverses. You're going to use him, probably even use things and motion him out the backfield, things of that nature. You're going to use a lot of different things to get the ball into his hands, and they're not just going to be they're not going to be just very, very traditional in the way they get the ball in Tank Dale's hands. Like, Tank Dale's not going to get the ball in the normal, traditional setting. So, do I think he's going to get the standard 120 catches, 1,600 yards, 15 receiver touchdowns? No, I don't think so. But do I think he's only primarily going to be in the slot? Absolutely not. You're going to be able to play him on the outside. Now, you're not going to be able to play him on the outside a lot because of his height and weight, but he can go on the outside every now and again, depending on certain packages. And like I said, you're going to use him. He's more so going to be used as a weapon instead of being a straight bona fide receiver. But he's a playmaker. I think him and CJ have a strong record. They're building a strong record together, and he's going to be very, very dangerous on the offensive end. Now, the other guy is John Mitchell, our second-round pick of last year's draft. A guy who, I mean, if you looked at this tape at Alabama, his last year, the year with Bryce Young, with Bill O'Brien, his last year, you would think, oh, he's just a slot guy. But go look at his tape the year prior, playing with Matt Jones of all people. He was a down-the-field threat. A down-the-field threat. Now, again, he slid in the draft because he tore his ACL, didn't play last year because of the torn ACL, and also coming back from cancer. We've seen in the offseason, we've seen him bulk up and get bigger. I know he still hasn't done exactly all the things that everybody wants him to do as far as off-season workouts, because he's still coming back and getting his body right from the ACL injury and from the cancer. So you're going to bring him along slow, have no problem with that. But I definitely believe he's a guy who could be a down-the-field threat. Another guy who could play outside and inside. I know he played a lot of inside and slot his last year with Bryce Young, but with Matt Jones throwing the football down the field, he played on the outside and played down the field. So do I think he has done that? We want to see how he can do that on the NFL level, especially when him coming back off the ACL. Hopefully he hasn't lost any speed, as he done bulked up. But he's another guy who goes out there and gets the football and can make plays down the field with like 5'11", 180-some pounds. Like I said, be bulked up, so he's probably up to 190, almost maybe 200. A guy who I think could definitely be a down-the-field guy. He's a guy who I do believe could get you 100-plus catches. I think he could possibly play that whole Cooper Kupp role. Remember, we play the same type. We're going to play the same type of offense that Kubiak Shannon offense. Remember, not Malafort did come from this offense, but Sean McVay out there with Cooper Kupp with the Rams. They come from the Shanahan tree. He coached with Shanahan in Washington. So I do believe, so it's a similar type of offense, same verbiage, same play style, same route combinations. So I do believe that he could possibly be that Cooper Kupp role. Now, hey, will he be able to get the Triple Crown, leading the league in yards, catches, and touchdowns like Cooper Kupp? Hopefully so. But I do believe that he's a guy who can play that type of role. So I definitely want to see exactly what he can do in this offense. This offense, we talk about the play action, we talk about the running backs, and how it's. I think that's the thing that's most under talked about is how good the scheme is for running backs, and how good it is for running backs and getting running backs over 50 or getting running backs over 1,000 yards. But one thing also, this offense also gets wide receivers wide open. Go look at Dre under Gary Kubiak. Dre was always wide open. Go look at Brandon Ayuk and Debo. Those guys are open. Go look at Cooper Kupp. Go look at Cooper Kupp with the Rams. He's open. Go look at Tyreek Hill and Waddle out there in Miami. They're open. Go look at Jettas out there in Minnesota. They're open. This is all the type of offense. Again, all those guys I'm naming also had elite skills. We're talking about bona fide number one receivers. We're talking about elite type of guys. And we have yet to see what these receivers will do. But the system does give wide receivers open. And you get somebody like Tank there, who I just said, you get him in open space, he's dangerous. You damn sure get somebody like Mitchell in open space, they're going to be dangerous as well. Now, the other guy, another guy that we drafted in this past draft, a rookie, is Xavier Hutchinson, the receiver out of Iowa State. 6'3", 200 plus pounds. Also fellow Blinn Buccaneer alum. Shout out to Blinn. Junior college. Shout out to Blinn. But went to Blinn as well before he ended up going to Iowa State. Guy has great hands, and actually him with the route tree is damn near superb. Like he has elite route running skills. He's a very, very good route runner. good solid hands, makes good solid catches. Doesn't have the dynamic speed. Let me just call it what it is. He doesn't have the straight breakaway speed. Hopkins ain't had a straight breakaway speed, and Hopkins was the number one receiver. Doesn't have the straight breakaway speed that you want him to have. But again, good route runner, great hands, able to make catches with his hands, not just catching with his body, making catches with his hands, catching away, not getting the body catch, getting the catches with the hands, using his hands as catches. I definitely believe, and also played in the same similar offense. Like that's part of the reason why they drafted Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, Mr. Irrelevant from to the 49ers. Iowa State. That was his former coach. Former quarterback. So he knows some of the confines and the nuances of the offense, which I think will help him, which helped Brock Purdy in the NFL. I think this is going to also help Xavier Hutchinson. It's going to help him as well. Kind of helped T.J. Yates back in the day when we drafted T.J. Yates back in 2011. When he was in North Carolina, they ran the same type of offense out there in North Carolina, and that's the reason why when he came as a rookie, we ended up winning the division and winning the playoff game, because he kind of knew the offense already based off his college days. So I think the exact same thing with him. Like I said, doesn't have the breakaway speed. Plays similar to Keenan Allen. If you could get a Keenan Allen type of player, you hit money. Absolute, strictly money if you can do that. If you can get a Keenan Allen type player out of Xavier, you absolutely hit money with him. So I definitely believe that he's a guy who the role for him could be that second receiver. I don't know if he could be the bona fide number one receiver, but I definitely think he could be the second receiver and a good solid possession receiver, making key plays on key downs and distances and things like that. A guy who could come out and say great route runner. I think that's probably the best thing he has is his route running ability. And again, with this offense that gets receivers wide open, I definitely believe he's a guy who can make that stride. And I'm very excited to see exactly what he can do with this offense, especially with a quarterback like C.J. Stroud. Another guy is Nico Collins. Now, Nico has been on this team for the past 2 years, a third-round pick. Nick Caserio's first draft. Nick Caserio jumped up to get him 6'4", 215 pounds, a big body guy. I know a lot of people say, he kind of got a raw deal. He out there with Tim Kelly and out there Tim Kelly is his OC. And Pat Pep Hamilton's OC, got Davis Mills as quarterback, not really getting a real true fair shot. Which of those things are true? I'm gonna be honest with you. And I actually like Nico coming out of I like Nico coming out of Michigan. I like Nico coming out of Michigan. Back when we had Deshaun Watson, that's one of the guys who I targeted. Like, oh, hey, you put it in with Deshaun Watson, I think he can grow. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have not been impressed with what I've seen out of Nico. Nico supposedly ran a 4.40 in the combine. I've yet to see it in the NFL level. That's what I mean, that one play against Tennessee, we kind of went downfield. I haven't seen anything really out of Nico that was a real splash play, to be honest with you. I haven't seen it out of him. I want to see more. Like I said, he's a big body guy. Look like he could be very strong, and this offense also calls for your running back, your quarterback, your receivers to block, especially in the run game when you run that zone run scheme. So, zone blocking scheme. So you definitely want your receivers to be able to block, and I do think that I need to see exactly how Ken will block, because I seen it with Mechie in Alabama, that Mechie could use his body and block. Nico's a bigger body, stronger guy, so Nico should be able to block down the field. I know a lot of that's effort. I need him to learn how to use his body the correct way. And I know we seen the play the other day that the NFL, that the Texans posted when CJ out there practicing with the ones and threw a perfect pass to Nico. Nico caught it over the shoulder. It was right there in his hands. It was a nice turnaround. He made a nice splash play. I give you that. I need to see more out of Nico, because as of, like I said, what I've seen so far, I'm not truly impressed. And I have bigger hopes for Nico. I don't see that number one thing, that number one drive to be. Now, I could be completely wrong. I haven't seen it yet. But I want to see more. I think of the guys I talked about, out of Tank, out of Mechie, out of Xavier, Nico's the bottom of the four. He's number 4. Tank is 1, Mechie's 2, Xavier's 3, Nico's 4. And Going forward after this year, I don't really see a role on this team for him. Mechie could be a solid slot guy or outside speed receiver. I think that Hutchinson could be a. I think that Hutchinson could be a number one. Be a number two receiver. I think if you end up getting Hopkins, or you go out there, you make a play for Jerry Jeudy or Brandon Ayuk, even Waddle, somehow get Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins. You either you go out and you get Xavier Worthing guy at UT next year. You go out and get Marvin Harrison Jr. at Ohio State next year. Those guys will be the number one bona fide receiver, the guy who I say is dictating coverage, the number one bona fide receiver, the guy who you look into the most. Like I said, you got Hutchinson. You got Hutchinson as your possession number two receiver. You got Tank as your just special weapon who you use in different packages. Guys, you just get the ball in his hand and let him make plays with. Mechie is your slot, also down the field, a deep threat receiver. I don't really see a role going forward past this year for Nico. I really don't. I wouldn't be surprised if Nico gets cut during the training camp. I wouldn't be surprised if Nico's a surprise cut. It wouldn't surprise me that he's a surprise cut. I know a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people against that. I wouldn't be surprised. Me personally, I wouldn't be surprised. Because as I watch Nico, like, again, and I give y'all that the whole Davis Mills, Pep Hamilton, Tim Kelly situation, I get that. Also, Nico got to stay on the field. Nico been hurt a lot. A lot of times, Nico was on the field. Nico's not on the field. A lot of times, Nico is not on the field because he's always hurt, banging, nagging injuries. I need him to stay on the field. And when he's on the field, I need him to produce and shine and step up and make a splash. Make something that stands out to me. I haven't seen him yet stand out. Now, again, he's about to have CJ. He's about to have Bobby Slowick in this type of offense that gets receivers wide open. Because I ain't gonna lie, there was some times that he was open last year, and Davis Mills either overthrew him or underthrew him, or didn't even look his way and out there checking down the Rex Burkhead. I'll give you all those things. Those things are valid. So I do want to see him get an opportunity. But it wouldn't surprise me. Like I was saying, if what can I think his name? Roy Lopez. If Roy Lopez gets cut, wouldn't surprise me. If Gary Wall gets cut, wouldn't surprise me. Now, if Jonathan Gennard got cut, that would surprise me. You know, that Jonathan Gennard get cut, that would surprise. That would be a shock. If Singletary, the other running back we got, if he get cut, that would surprise me. If Nico get cut, it wouldn't surprise me. He would be just like Gary Wallow and Roy Lopez. They got cut. I wouldn't be shocked. So, do I really think he's going to get cut? No, I don't think he's going to get cut. I think he's going to be on the field, and I think that he's going to get the opportunity to at least make a run. I don't know what his role is going forward. As we've shown so far, I don't know what his role is going forward. But I do think he's going to be on the team. I do think he's going to be on the team and able to get a shot, especially in this offense, especially with this quarterback. But I don't know exactly what his role is going forward because he has a lot of stepping up to do. Because I can see Tank, Mechie, and Xavier going up there and overstepping him. And there's another thing. All these receivers, Nick Casario jumped up for. He jumped up for Nico in the third round. He jumped up in the second round to get Mechie. He jumped up in the third round to get Tank. He jumped up in the fifth round to get Hutchinson. Like, he jumped up to get all these guys. So obviously Nick's seen something in all these guys to jump up. And these other three guys haven't got a shot yet. Nico, we've seen Nico on the field on the NFL level. And it's not really that impressive as of yet. Again, like I say, we still don't have a number one receiver. I still believe a number one receiver is still warranted. And hopefully one of these guys step up to become a number one receiver. As of right now, I don't see it yet. But I do believe that this Texan core, this receiving core, is underrated. And again, if you want to say they're young and experienced, I give you that. You ain't going to get no pushback, no argument with me. When you go out there and just say they're just straight bad, they have no weapons, they have no talent, you're being, I don't want to say disingenuous. You just don't know because these guys are just unknowns. That's really what they are. They're unknowns. I don't know. You don't know. They don't know. Nobody knows. They're unknowns. We have a hope, a perception, but nobody really knows. So don't sit up there and say they're bad and they're not good. And we do need weapons. We do need more bona fide weapons. That's the reason why I do believe if Hopkins is serious to come into the Houston Texans, you go out there and you get DeAndre Hopkins because DeAndre Hopkins is damn sure better than anybody on this field. I mean, anybody in the team as a receiver as of right now. So you definitely go after DeAndre Hopkins, but don't sit up and say these receivers are bad because they're really most so unknown. The only one who really we've seen is Nico, and I will give you he hasn't had the best opportunity because of the offensive coordinators and the quarterback and just the situations the Texans were in general. But am I impressed with what I've seen? No, he leaves a lot to be desired. He has a lot of stepping up to do. Like, subscribe if you haven't, comment below if you haven't, click that bell, get more videos. I holla.